This is Northport Now, where we bring you everything happening in and around our city. From warm mineral springs updates to heat safety, we've got you covered. Here's what you need to know this week. At the time of this recording, the city is still under a major to extreme heat risk. My weather app says it's 95 degrees, but it feels like 107. It honestly feels like we're in the middle of the Sahara out there. It may also feel like that because we're forecasted to see Saharan dust come our way, which increases heat and potentially reduces precipitation. It's more important than ever to stay safe in this extreme weather. As a reminder, here are some tips to follow. Drink water. Wear lightweight clothing, drink water, never leave kids, pets, or others in a parked vehicle. And did I mention to drink water? Stay safe out there, Northport, and hopefully some relief will come our way soon. Get more heat safety tips at northportfl.gov/heat safety. The Northport City Commission approved a roughly $4 million budget amendment to fully fund the Warm Mineral Springs Park building rehabilitation project on second reading during its July 7th meeting. The approved funding allows the city to move forward with the construction phase of the project, which includes the historic renovation of the admission building, a hybrid renovation of the spa building, stabilization and mothballing of the cyclorama, wet floodproofing measures for project structures, utility upgrades, and parking improvements. Stay up to date on Warm Mineral Springs Park by visiting northportfl.gov/WMSP Master Plan. We're going to use this podcast to plug another podcast. In the latest Northport Stories episode, we interview several city staff members who share their stories of resilience during natural disasters. From kayaking to work to responding to flooded homes by airboat, the stories are harrowing and inspirational. This episode is a great reminder to always stay prepared and that our community shows up when it matters most. You can find a link to the episode in the show notes. Speaking of natural disasters, did you know select disaster supplies are tax-free in Florida all year long? Stock up now on emergency essentials such as batteries, insect repellent, portable generators, sunscreen, waterproof tarps and sheeting, and more. To learn more, visit northportfl.gov/alerts. It's time for more commission meeting highlights, where City Manager Jerome Fletcher takes us through the latest City Commission decisions and what they mean for the public. Here to tell us more about the July 7th City Commission meeting is City Manager Fletcher. Welcome back, Jerome. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Madison.
Awesome. So at the July 7th meeting in the evening, the City Commission approved a resolution to explore through a court validation process our ability to borrow money. So what does this look like? What does this mean?
Okay, what this means is the city has decided that our charter reads in a way that we want the court to clarify to see if we can borrow in methods that are not specifically mentioned in our charter. Currently, it states that general obligation bonds have to be voted on by the community, but that has also been interpreted to mean that all debt is the same debt. And we know now in 2026 that that is not the case. There are multiple ways you can borrow. And what we're trying to do is figure out if the court will say, yes, you can borrow. And with this example that we proposed, the city itself, its staff has saved $2.7 million in its next year's budget to pay for that. And that's how you are able to take care of the city if the court allows without adding any extra burden to the taxpayers.
Right. And you had mentioned a certain amount of money, and in the resolution it said about $34 million. So what is that attributed to?
So $25 million was for a first phase of the police headquarters, which we still have to figure out a way to get that funded and constructed. The other two were for two government purpose buildings that we currently have that are failing that we need to repair. But with the looming property tax reform, it will be hard for us to, in this year, be able to go and say, yes, take that money and do these projects. It would have to be get the court validation approved and then be able to see what we need to do in the future and have that as another tool in the toolbox to take care of the city.
Right. So is there an estimated time that this is going to come back to commission, or are we just at a future meeting we'll discuss the findings?
So hopefully within 90 days, we will get the results back, and then the commission will then at that time, they have not obligated themselves to anything at this time financially, but it did show a great strength of credit for the city when we did get 8 proposals back of those who are interested in doing business with the city based on how well we have taken care of our debt and our finances.
Got it. So I guess we'll be back in 90 days-ish.
Or less.
Yes. To talk about the results of this finding. So stay tuned. Also, during the meeting, the City Commission continued an ordinance regarding creating a special district within Activity Centers 6 and 10, which is in the area of Yorkshire Boulevard on the east side of the city. So at the base of it, why is a special district in consideration for this area, and what do they do?
Well, the only way to activate that area out there for growth and development is to create a special district that will allow us to assess the people who are there and then allow the people who are there to be responsible for the building and the infrastructure that comes there. Now, you can carve out the existing homeowners in that process so you're not harming people who have already established themselves there. But the people who are there who have the vacant land, you want those people to contribute towards the growth of the area. It's important because we can't borrow money to fix it ourselves. If we could fix it ourselves, we would just borrow money, put it out there, go get it fixed, and then pay for it like, normal places. But we don't have that luxury. So we have to figure out a way similar like to what Welland Park did on the other side of the city. And they were able to create and build and buy and get paid back through taxes. It's the same structure, just on a different part of town. And people who weren't here 20 years ago, when Welland Park started, it's something new. So of course, when you have something new, you have questions. So we need to make sure we provide questions and clarity to those who have them.
Sure, and it's in a kind of virtually untouched portion of the city, so people aren't used to seeing stuff going on that side as well.
That's true.
Yeah. So with the possible approval of the ordinance upon second reading on July 21st at their meeting, what are the next steps? Like once that's done, do any assessments go into place?
No assessments go into place, not now. What we would need is to get the consultant on board to help guide us through the process, a subject matter expert that is not highly cost. I think it was $30,000 a year, Director Ray said last night. We get the consultant on board, and then we follow the proper steps and make sure that we follow all the ordinances, public hearings, and everything that we need to do to make sure that we are transparent about the process. We want to make sure that people understand that the things that we do and the actions that we're taking are financially beneficial to the city, overall. And people, when you show them transparency step by step and they don't like it step by step, it's like, this is why we want you to come with us on the journey to the end and not just look at the phase that you're in now and think that, well, this isn't going to work. We are being led and driven by, the economic development that is in the best interest for the entire city. And that means a lot. And it's valuable, just like the land out west was valuable for Welland Park. This land is valuable as well. And there was a plan at some point to activate it. And this is how you get it started.
Sure. And so transparency is especially important with this project because there's so many variables that could go in place or be taken out or things like that. Like you mentioned, people could be carved out that already live there, things like that. So especially important to pay attention.
Absolutely. We had some public commenters last night that stated they were there and, they didn't want to have to pay a tax that, that they weren't going to, most likely benefit from directly the same way that others who are not already there. And that is true. And the commission made it clear that they would carve out exemptions for them as we would expect them to. But again, until you get the right information, there's always the misinformation that they need to avoid. I am proud that they came to the commission to get their questions answered. And I think they were happier when they left than when they came. Definitely.
So to end our chat on an exciting note, the commission approved an ordinance on second reading authorizing a roughly $4 million budget amendment to fully fund the War Mineral Springs Park building rehabilitation project. So exciting stuff. Now that it is officially approved, what is next?
So what's next is we now have to work with the contractor to get the work done. I believe that'll start within the next 30 days. They will work. It's a multiple month project, so I'm not sure when the end date will be off the top of my head. But I can tell you that we made a commitment to keep the springs open while it was being renovated because that was most important to the people that we heard from at least 2 years ago. So we're going to try to make sure, my goal now is to focus on making sure that we keep it open while we get the work done so they're not displaced, but to get them and keep them excited about the vision of what's coming, because it's been long overdue. They've been very patient, and I thank the commission for keeping it within our projects for this year, even though there's some things that are still up in the air.
Right. And then as a last thing, as a quick reminder, what is being done there?
So they are creating new admin office. They are creating showers. They are creating a little pavilion that's covered so people can actually sit out there. They're renovating 2 of the older buildings and they're mothballing the cyclorama, which has the most history in it. So they're going to protect it and make sure that that historical building stays there, but is tidied up a little bit. And the other 2 buildings, they really need to be renovated because they were just falling apart and falling down. And Hurricane Ian sort of just didn't help that at all. So this has been probably 3 years in the making of conversation to get to this point. So there's a lot of happy people, and they with a lot of patience.
Right. It's the long game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate you sitting down with us, Jerome, again to give us a wrap up of this meeting, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You can visit northportfl.gov/meetings to view the agendas for upcoming meetings or watch videos of any meeting you missed. We'll be bringing you more highlights after the next commission meeting later this month. Thanks for tuning in to Northport Now. Be sure to check out the show notes for links and more details on everything we covered today. Have a great week, Northport, and don't forget to stay informed, stay engaged, stay connected, and stay hydrated.